Yeah. Yes, we have questions of 16 people working as their nation's delegates. So yes, good job. Good job, good job. And for our last question to dive into our thing, it is, and when did the Korean War start?
Maybe the year, month, and day.
1950?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean by the date or?
And the date too. So okay, everybody organize. I want you to state the year, month, date. Okay, who's first? I'll give turn to
First?
June 1st.
That is
No.
what it's not.
The month is correct. 15 June.
15? That is not correct.
That is not correct. We're getting there. Oh, I think yes.
27th June. That's the movie.
Can we hear that again?
27th.
27th June, 19th. The year?
19th.
No. I'm sorry.
Gotta get a-
Well, yes. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm not sure, but I think it's June 18th, 1950.
Oh no. Okay, I think.
So many
There-
days.
No.
Yes, the 25th of June. Yes.
Yes, we got the answer. So everybody had like a brief thought of the year and month, but the correct year and date was 1950, June 25th. But yes. Okay, so I hope that was a nice icebreaker. Get your mind all squishy and able to talk. Okay. So yes, so great. I think we are ready to dive into our discussion. Today is commemorating the 70th anniversary of the Korean War, and we will be talking about the world youth role in creating peace between the North and South Korea.
Yes, and we are aware that peace in the Korean Peninsula is a very difficult topic to start the discussion. So first, we're going to start out by talking about the status of the Korean War first. And then we'll conduct a vote to see where you hold your position.
Okay, so we're going to start by putting your hands up if you think Korea is safe from war. I'll repeat myself. We are now going to decide our opinion whether if you think Korea is safe from war. So those who think Korea is safe from war, please put your hand up and remain your hand up while our staff members go around and give you stickers that shows that you think that Korea is safe from war. So I'll give you some time, maybe like 10 seconds, 30 seconds for you to decide whether you think Korea is safe from war or Korea is not safe from war. So that this will be our first discussion, our topic today. So I want you guys to think about it and make your opinion on which side you feel is right. And if everybody has a side, you guys decide. Who needs more time? Is everybody? By putting your hands up if you think Korea is safe from war.
There's no vote?
Today's no, it's whether you agree or disagree. If you think Korea is safe from war. So, okay, so should I put your hand up if you think that Korea is safe from war? Oh wow, no one. Okay. Please put your hands up, and our staffs will give you stickers to. Okay, here we go. Put your hands up. Yes. Please keep your hands up if you haven't got the sticker. If you got the stickers. Did everybody get their? Okay. We have our Yes, okay, so our first vote shows that the side that Korea is not safe from war has more votes. And the nations that think that Korea is safe from war is Turkey, UK, and Cuba. Is that correct? Okay, yes.
Yes. So the delegate of the United Kingdom indicated that Korea is safe from the war. Is there any reason why you think so?
Well, the reason I hesitated a bit earlier was because the wording of the question is not a black or white is 100% safe from the war. But if I had to choose between the two, I would guess the chance of war breaking out in Korea is far less than the chance of a bloody and violent outcome.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Okay, delegates of South Korea indicated that Korea is not safe from the war. Is there any reason behind why you think so?
As Korean, actually, I do believe my country and government, especially when my dad is murdered, but I can't believe North Korean president. I don't know how to call it, but Jong Kim. And like lots of things can happen, and still some things happen, but just normal people doesn't know, like just small fights. And so I think something can happen at some point. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Could you add on?
I agree in some parts of what Jonah, right? Jonah said about this. I personally think like Korea is like not safe from the war because it is a country that is like currently on war over on a pause. So we cannot avoid, like we cannot just ignore the possibilities of that war can always break out on this peninsula, and there's nothing like so awkward about it or like so just out of nowhere. So I just personally think I lean towards to Korea's not safe from the war, even though I lived in this peninsula 22 years with no war. But
Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Is there anyone who thinks similarly, or is there anyone who can respond? Or, okay, the delegate of the Philippines.
So I would just like to explain my answer and also add to what the other said. Actually, for me, I have two answers. Technically, if we look at the Korean War, the status of the Korean War, it only ended in a ceasefire. Like there was not any peace treaty signed between. The ceasefire was signed in July 27, 1953, so it marked the end, as I quote unquote, the end of the Korean War. But if we are talking about the technicalities, there should be a peace treaty for us to be able to declare that it's really safe for both countries and that a war will not happen. But in reality, I would say that it's not possible, mainly because the economic impacts will be very, very grave, and especially with North Korea, like we all know that their economy is not that stable compared to South Korea. So I would say that it will be, it's not rational for, well, either of the countries to engage in a war. But technically, it's possible. And that's why I believe that there should be a treaty to be signed as soon as possible so that all of us can really feel the genuine safety in this peninsula. Thank you.
So the delegation of the Philippines stated that since the Korean War was ended by a ceasefire and there was no actual peace treaty, the world still is going on, and so therefore, to be actually safe from war, you stated that there has to be a peace treaty, which symbolizes everything.
Right, like I presented two sides of my answer. Like technically, it's not safe, but in reality, due to the economic impacts and other, like the other consequences that both countries might face from international sanctions of engaging into war, then I don't think it's rational for any of North or South Korea. In fact, the peace or the ceasefire was not either. It was only signed by the UN representative, North Korea and Chinese representatives. A real closure in this war, and that's why we should really push through and promote the peace in the real peace in the Korean Peninsula.
Okay, thank you for your idea. So that was an opinion from the Philippine delegate who thinks that
lot of people, most people are smarter than that, than just to say, hey, let's go on war. So I believe that technically there's more possibilities that a war not happening than a war happening here in the peninsula.
Okay, so technically you said it will be not easy to provoke a war because everybody wants beneficial sides of the war. And you can turn on your mic.
Oh, that's right, yes.
But you still stated that Korea is not safe from war.
Well, I don't believe that any country is 100% safe from war, because even though countries that we think that are completely okay, we never know what's going to happen, because right now, the international one another, just as the delegate from Turkey said, it's not just me and my country, it's the whole international community. So any choice that a single country makes affects the whole region, or even the whole continent. So yeah, I don't think that technically any from war. But in the case of Korea, I feel like people have learned their lesson with the Korean War, and a lot of people don't want to repeat what people went through the war. I don't think people are going to want to sacrifice that the second time.
Delegate Paxton?
Yeah, I agree with everyone, thank you so much, but I want to add something. So we're talking about the peace of Korean Peninsula, but I think war can happen everywhere. Right now, like if you see some countries, they are still under the war. There are a lot of countries there having problem with like civil war, or other countries are attacking. But if we think South Korea, I don't think South Korea is gonna start the war, but we cannot trust North Korea and Kim Jong-un. In my opinion, North Korea will attack Korea if they cannot take this country under them. So they can, if they can't take it, they will rather destroy it. So I think there can be a chance of war. South Koreans are very educated, but North Koreans are under the dictatorship. So if you're under the dictatorship, you can't choose what you want to do. So I think there is possibility of war from North Korea side. We can get attacked.
Delegate Pakistan said there is a possibility of North Korea and South Korea, and since it's a dictatorship, it's all up to the president of North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
Anyone? Yes, the delegate from Turkey.
I think we need to understand the two things. Attacking to some country and war, totally different things, right? So North Korea sometimes it can attack to North Korea, maybe Pacific Seas, maybe some missile, something. But war is different. He is Korean and same nation, speaks same language, same culture. He's also human and also originally Korean. So starting a war and sometimes depending on the situation, attacking to somewhere is totally different. That risk always we have in Korea. North Korea sometimes if they need something, if they are angry, they can send some missile to somewhere. But starting a war is totally different thing, I think. That's my idea.
Starting a war is totally different from okay, so the Turkey pointed out 2 points that a nation that any war, the war will not end, but still it is very hard, like we said again earlier, it's very hard to start a war again. That's why South Korea is safe from the war. Okay, so we have a lot of ideas going on. Is there any delegates who would add on a new idea? Yes, Delegate Alex, please.
Yeah, I would like to ask a question to the delegates who mentioned that it's not possible, that the war in Korea is not possible. Like, my question, presence of the DMZ, or the demilitarized zone. Despite of its name being called demilitarized, it's one of the heavily militarized zones in the world. In fact, there are around 2 million soldiers from both sides patrolling that area. So if there is no possibility of war, then why?
So we need some time, and we have to help them. We have to show them something about the democracy. So DMZ, it doesn't mean that any time a war can start. 1953, after the war finished, so they make a line, 38 line, and they are keeping that one. But there are many soldiers there. Same culture. They are looking with the one eye. So this is like in this world, it looks like not very efficient. There is not any. I don't understand. They're just keeping themselves looking one eye and to each other. But I think it will change. Being as many soldiers in DMZ, I don't think so because of any possibility of the war. This is the culture that started 70 years ago, still going on.
So to summarize, you believe that the DMZ is just there, not changed, rather than having a symbol of war might erupt. It's not that, but rather it's just remaining as it was built from the start 17 years ago. That's not what we're saying. I think the third thing that delegate you want to ask, would you like to hear some other opinions on the DMZ topic as well?
Yes, I think that didn't really clearly answer my question, because the fact that you mentioned that even all the entire population of North Korea don't know the outside world, don't you think that's already a red flag that whatever their leader might say, then all of them might just follow, and if the leader wants to go to war, then they can just do it, especially in this peninsula. So I think, yes, I understand your point that you're hoping that things will change, but the question from the host is that, do you think it's possible for a war to happen? I mean, yes, we can all hope, we can all wish for the best in the Korean Peninsula, but if we try to be realistic, then we cannot deny the fact that, you know, these presence of soldiers and both countries investing a lot, this is not just, you know,
and that's it. So I feel like the DMZ also has a role of protecting the borders, the country borders, in this case South Korea, to prevent more defectors from coming in. Even though when defectors come into South Korea, they automatically get a South Korean citizenship, but North Koreans really don't want that. And I'm pretty sure South Koreans, well, the South Korean government in this case, doesn't want to get like a whole flood of defectors at the same time. So maybe that's another role that the DMZ plays, I believe.
The delegate indicated that DMZ only it plays as a role of protecting the border.
And yeah, thank you for your sharing thought. And Delegate of Indonesia has something to say.
Sorry, actually I want to like say something to the opinion from Turkey and also from the Philippines about the DMZ itself. I think it's he will not just he will not just bring democracy just like that and kind of create some kind of like change. Even though he kind of like reached out to outside the world like in 2018, but do you know that basically North Korea even have like war? I mean, like kind of like testing some kind of like missiles, and they claim that they can reach Seoul in a matter of like 1 hour, and can destroy one third or one populations. So that's one of the factors that I think why South Korea is not that safe yet, even though that there's no war, and the DMZ is actually there to remind us that the peace is not here yet. Because if the peace is here, then the DMZ will not be there anymore. That's a word like what she said. That DMZ is one of the most fortified. The reforms from the Korean War still is more in the
I totally agree this is used as the propaganda, like propaganda producing. Also, a political device that they symbolically use, that is easy to produce for people living in South Korea and outside of Korea. But we cannot it's inevitably proving the fact that the chance of war is on this peninsula because it's a symbolic of military forces that are residing in two ends. And so I guess at the end I'm agreeing on the side of the delegate of
Okay. And I think we should hear.
we cannot put the lives of innocent people at risk just to keep this symbolic landmark. I agree. I mean, maybe if they demilitarize the zone, they can keep the fences, they can keep the war equipment. That's totally fine, like the War Memorial Museum, right? Like you can look at it, but at least it's not active, it's not posing a threat to the lives of the people. And aside from that, I would like to add to the comment